Welcome back, everyone. Talking about Canvas. Once again today, it's Kat and Zach. And today we're going to talk about something called Mastery Gradebook. And I know what Gradebook is. I know what Canvas is. Kat, can you tell us a little bit about what we're talking about?
Yeah, the Mastery Gradebook is really cool. It takes your existing gradebook and just makes a parallel gradebook. So if you want to still keep 0 through 100 scores, that still exists in your regular gradebook. But then there's the secret other gradebook that stores scores on learning mastery. So essentially the way that works is we look at one standard to assess how students are doing, and we give them a score on a scale of does not meet mastery all the way to exceeds mastery or exceeds expectations, to give the student feedback on how well they're doing on one particular topic.
Great. So we have this set up in Canvas, and I know at our middle schools this year, we're really trying to look at how to support sort of that mastery gradebook model and mastery-based learning. Can you show us how to put this into action?
Absolutely. So I've spent a lot of time in the past couple of weeks working with teachers to set up their mastery gradebooks. So this is an ELA team that's doing a great job collaborating on their Canvas page. And if you click on the Outcomes tab within the course, you can see all of their sections that their state standards address. So if we look at, say, language, you'll see the text of the state standard here. And then the scores that students can earn show up below.
So they've set up sort of a complete understanding all the way down to no understanding with 1 through 4 for each of their standards. How do they get those standards in there?
So there are a couple ways you can get it in there. Canvas has some preloaded, or you can import them manually by clicking on this plus outcome button, or you can do a bulk upload, which involves a spreadsheet, but I'm happy to assist with anyone who wants help with that.
And why do we like creating our own sort of outcome standards versus using the pre sort of loaded ones from Canvas?
I love using my own because you can edit them. If you use an existing standard, you can't necessarily edit it. And when you do use an existing one, it looks like this, and you can't adjust the language that the students see. You can't adjust the points that are assigned. So sometimes it's really helpful to put it in your own.
Okay, so if you use the state ones, it's going to be more generic and maybe not worded in a way that sort of works with how that class is running and the students are running. And then if we load up our own, we can customize it, we can change the language, but we can still use the state standards sort of as a baseline.
Exactly. And you can also change the language that adults see compared to students. So if you look at the edit mode, the adults see 8L3, which is helpful if you're an English teacher and you're familiar with your language standards. But what students see is knowledge of language. So they're seeing guide words there.
Got it. So the friendly name option really is sort of what do we want the students to call it? The name of the outcome is kind of like the technical identifier that we could sort of match it up in this sort of state curriculum guideline.
Exactly.
So let's say I'm in my own course. It looks like we have your sandbox course set up here. How would I go about getting started and perhaps using this model if I wanted to?
Absolutely. So what we'll do is go to modules. So this will work after you have outcomes in there. And so I'm going to go into Math Module 7, and I'm going to add another assignment by clicking on the plus sign along this gray bar at the top. And when I do that, I'll add a new assignment to Math Module 7. Maybe I'll call it Math Assignment number 2. So now it's there in my module. And then I'll click on the assignment name. And at this point, there's nothing, it's an empty assignment shell, but I can add a rubric. So I'm actually going to do this before I edit any part of the assignment.
So before you add what you're supposed to do okay, got it.
Yeah, I created the assignment shell, and now we're just going in and saying what we'll assess.
Cool.
And if you've used rubrics in Canvas before, this is the same format that you've used. So the first line there, that's a template. I usually just click the trash can to start with an empty rubric. And then you'll click Find Outcome. Don't add your own criterion. Go through this outcome menu.
And this is going to load anything that's been preloaded or you loaded yourself.
Exactly. So if you've got all 40 of your state standards in there, they'll all show up in this list. I have one. I clicked on it. And then from there, I'll click Import at the bottom of my screen. And then it adds my standard to my assignment. What I usually like to do at this point is remove the points from the rubric. This way, instead of a student saying, I got a 3 out of 4, that's a 75, the feedback that they get when they receive it is just meets expectations. So they're getting that verbal feedback rather than a numerical score.
Got it. So this is what mastery-based learning is about, is just understanding with language how they are going in terms of meeting the standards versus that numerical value of 75. Because you really don't get a 75 on standard. You get sort of a descriptive version of it.
Exactly. So yeah, so once you do that, you can create the rubric, and now it's attached to your assignment. And you can go in and edit your assignment just as you normally would, right? This is an empty shell of an assignment at this point. Put in whatever you want. And then when students are done with that and you're grading it, it will log every time they address this standard. Every time you grade along this standard, it'll provide a log for the students on how they've scored on that topic.
Got it. So any assignment that's tagged with that specific standard of the course of the year, we can see, maybe October 2nd, Zach, got like a, meets, and then later on in the year, maybe dip down to, below, or however the language is structured, and then later on might do better, and then we can sort of track that over time.
Exactly.
Cool. Great. So
Awesome.
Thanks so much for telling us about this. And if folks want help in setting this up, I know you have some templates that we can get loaded and help people with. And I know you're spending a lot of time in classrooms right now working with teachers on this. So we can put the contact info out there for folks as well.
Absolutely.
Great. Thank you.
All right. Thanks. I know you really just want dancing candy behind you. I get it. Just slouch down so you can't see them in the same outfit.